4 o'clock in the morning.
Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Just want to mention a couple of things. I put up a episode on Grenache because that was kind of going to be my turkey wine, and I was on YouTube and it disappeared. Strangest thing I've ever seen. I'm not sure if it was the sound quality, what happened. I had a little bit of fuzziness in there. I don't know what happened, but it disappeared. So hopefully I can gather together some Grenache and do another episode before Turkey Day. By the way, just wanted to mention that, yes, that's my new thing, Grenache and turkey. I, for a long time, went with Zinfandel. A lot of wine guys out there do that. I just have tried it over and over again, and I find that it is really, really not the wine for me, for turkey. Zin has tannins. Sometimes there's just too much alcohol in them. You really have to search high and low to find the right Zin. And I know a lot of you don't have the time to do that. You just want to go out and buy a Zin and have it fit. You can do Zin if you want. Go ahead, knock yourself out. I just found out personally myself that, you know, it isn't the best wine for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go with Grenache this year. I'm going to give it a try. Grenache has a little bit lower tannin level. Not always, but usually has lower tannin level, especially from Spain where they call it Garnacha. Anyway, there we are. This is Movember, or No Shave November, so I've got the scruffiness going on, cancer awareness, that sort of thing, men's health awareness, kind of both of those things put together. My mother died when she was 42. Now, granted, she smoked, but she died of cancer way, way, way too early. And I always thought, you know, I should do that. Who knows, maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you like the beard or not? Let me know. I'm curious. What I'm going to do today, though, I'm not going to shove. I know a lot of you have already decided what you're going to do for Thanksgiving. I'm not going to do a Thanksgiving episode this time. And if you're not aware of this, my computer has a video card problem, so I can't load YouTube up on it, so I have to borrow somebody else's computer, and a lot of times the internet, Wi-Fi doesn't work out really well. For some reason, I've just had a very difficult time getting episodes up on YouTube, which makes it difficult for me to keep continuity, keep things going. So I hope you're patient, you stick with me. I appreciate those guys that watch me all the time. I have a really steady audience. I want to see that grow, of course, as we all do. I'd love to see a big, big, big audience. I hope to someday. Been doing this for a while. This should be episode 302. It's 301 again because my Grenache episode disappeared in thin air somewhere. What I'm going to do today, though, is always fun. We're going to do wine blends. And there's a couple of reasons I want to do this. First of all, Cotes-du-Rhone does not sell in my store. And I never can figure that out because it is basically a blend. It's a blend from the Rhone Valley of France. And I just don't get it why in my area, I know that this is not true everywhere, of course, but here in the San Juan Islands, it's a tough sell, Cotes-du-Rhone. Even, you know, I've had it as my, usually one Cotes-du-Rhone makes it in my top 40 under $20 at the end of the year. Coming up, I'm starting to work on that now. I'm excited about that. That's a labor of love. Don't have to do anything like that. But I've gone through my, my notebook. I've picked out, well, 39 wines so far that fall into the category of best wines under $20. Some of them have pushed the envelope right at 20, but they're still under $19.99, under 20 bucks. Not a lot of them though, just a couple. Anyway, where was I going with that? Cotes-du-Rhone being that one. In fact, Cotes-du-Rhone Village made it as my #1 wine of the year a couple years back. And we sold quite a bit of it actually in that particular case. And you know, so sometimes I can kind of coerce people to buy it, but it's just consistently not the best selling wine. So anyway, that's a blend. Not to labor that, we got a blend from Argentina and 2 from Washington State. And one kind of cool, I'm going to go a little nostalgic on you with one of them. So anyway, let's get started. The other thing is my trifocals are in repair, so now I have to switch glasses. So bear with me on this. Okay, this is the Les Dauphins Cotes-du-Rhone Reserve. Let's see, 2013. And it doesn't give the blend on here, but typically Southern Rhone blends are Syrah dominated with a little Grenache. They'll have Grenache in them, they'll have Cinsault. Those are the main three, sometimes a little more Mourvedre, but those are the basic blends in wine. Sometimes they'll go 100% Syrah, but that doesn't happen very often. So anyway, they're a blend of Syrah, Grenache, Cinsault, and Mourvedre. This one rolls in at $10. Let me show you the label. There you go. Kind of a cool label, very old style, but a little bit of color to it. There you go. Let's give it a little rinse to the glass. Well, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I will try and do another episode before Thanksgiving. I'm really trying to get on track again with these YouTube episodes. I know you enjoy them. You like to find good wines, and that's what I'm here to do, is help you find those good wines. Switching glasses again. It's been quite difficult. These are, in fact, these glasses that I have on are the oldest pair that I have. I've kept them all along. They're not trifocals. They're my basic glasses for farsightedness. Kind of weird. I have to get a prism put in one of my lenses. I tend to want one of my eyes goes down, one goes up. So anyway, there you go. Let's see what we get on the nose. This has a very earthy nose. You know, it's like somebody spilled some cherries and currants on the dirt, and that's what you're smelling, with a little bit of cardboard action. And tobacco, and I'm getting a little bit of interesting like meat marinade thing going on, like a little soy sauce. Not meat marinade, I meant soy sauce, not meat marinade. That's just a lazy way of saying, well, it could be anything. It could be Worcestershire sauce, it could be A1 steak sauce, it could be any of those things, but this has more soy sauce in it. But very earthy. Very much like baked dirt. Okay, let's see what we get on the palate. Pretty simple, but there's some good things about this wine. It's simple, but there's some interesting things. It's very meaty. It tastes like I've been into a piece of meat. Doesn't have a ton of flavor, but it has a little bit of a vinegar, kind of soy sauce, vinegar action going on. With a little bit of like somebody rubbed, did a dirt rub on the meat. There's acidity there. Actually, the acidity kind of crowds it out a little bit. This is kind of an awkward wine. This is kind of, it's old world. It's got some stuff going on, but it's simple. It's kind of awkward. You get that meat, but then the acid takes over. The dirt is definitely there. This is kind of a nasty wine. I might know a handful of buddies that might dig this wine a little bit, but it's nasty. In fact, if you drank this wine and you wanted to say, okay, I'm going to be introduced to Cotes-du-Rhone, and this was the first one, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't buy any more Cotes-du-Rhone. This is not a good wine at all. It's too much acid. It's got, it's very dirty, very earthy on the palate, and kind of simple. I'm going to go D minus with this wine. I just do not like it. I'm not happy with that one at all. Sorry about that, guys. Let's move on. Whew. It's kind of like, turning somebody onto the wrong Pinot Noir for their first Pinot. You get one that's a little bit thin and acidic. They might not go back to it. That happened to me. It took me a long time. This was way back in the day. It took me a long time to go back to Pinot Noir because the first one I tried, I couldn't tell you what it is, was very thin and acidic, and I just didn't like them. But, that does not represent Pinot Noir. This does not represent what Cotes-du-Rhone is all about. Okay, 2013, Clare Cellars, Cabernet Merlot, White Bluffs, Columbia Valley, 65% Cab, 35% Merlot. This rolls in at $11. And there's a reason why I pulled this one. We're talking about blends. And this is a little nostalgia. Do you remember, are you old enough to remember, the day when that was pretty much what a blend was, Cab Merlot? I remember when the shelf, and I don't know if we called it a blend shelf back then, was predominantly, if not all, Cab Merlot. Do you remember those days? Now they call them all kinds of things. I remember when Barnard Griffin called it Cab Merlot. Now they call it Rob's Red Blend. We've really kind of transitioned from just saying Cab Merlot to now being more, giving them names like, Rob's Red Blend or Apothic Red or the Unknown Red or the other woman Red or whatever, on and on and on. That's the way it is. Mariota Old Vine Red. You're familiar with those wines. But back in the day, it was just Cab Merlot. It was a big thing. I remember those days. So here we are with a Cab Merlot from Clare Cellars, $11. Let's see what we get on the nose. As an interesting note, it's kind of I get a little asparagus coming through, licorice, tobacco. Now the fruit's hard on this one. I don't get a specific fruit. It's more like a blend of dark cherries and currants. Not specifically currants or cherries, kind of like blended together. Really non-distinct as far as that goes. At least today, you know what I'm saying. Every day's different. Get a little banana coming through, which I find very curious. So picture this: banana, asparagus, cherries, currants, a little bit of licorice. Let's see what we get on the palate. Interesting. I find, I don't know about you, I smell banana on a lot of wines. I try to leave it out of the descriptor, like at the store, because for some reason, the descriptor banana doesn't sell wine. And I don't understand why. I mean, I smell it. It doesn't mean like it smells like a banana, but there's a banana element in there. And I like bananas. But for some reason, when you put banana with wine, at least where I'm at, it tends to turn people off. I still use it occasionally, especially on whites. But I don't know why that is. Maybe you could tell me why. Maybe some of you guys that watch, you lurkers, you guys that don't ever comment. Thank you for the guys that do. I really do. I appreciate it, Mike, for making a comment on episode 300. I really appreciate that. It just kind of makes things nice when you make comments. I'm not going to force you to, of course, and I'm not going to quit doing these if you don't make comments. But if you feel a need, make a comment. Does banana turn you off? Do you like the beard? Let me know in the comment section down below. It's just kind of fun. It is. It makes it fun. So let's see what we get on the palate. Now, there's a couple things about this wine that impressed me. First of all, it's only $11. That's the first thing. And it's $11 connected to the fact that it's a very good wine. Very deep. I'm impressed. It's very solid across the palate. It's very seamless. It just flows nicely across the palate. with deep fruit. Like I said, there's no outstanding particular fruit. It's more like you get this one's more like a potpourri of dark cherries and currants and tobacco all blended together. Even getting a touch of chocolate on the finish, barely, but then it turns spicy, like you get that white and black pepper element coming through. And then the tannins get a little bit serious on the back end, get a little bit of grip action, a little bit of leather coming through. This isn't super complex, but it has a very nice, deep tone to it. And the tobacco just really takes over on the finish. I'm a real sucker for wines that have some fruit and then have that kind of old world stuff underneath, like leather and tobacco and earth and all of that with that spiciness. I like that. And this one has those things. Now, see right there, just then, I got a little bit of that asparagus on the back side, but it doesn't turn you off. It's not like it turns all green. It's just barely there. It's kind of a cool wine. Like I said, not super complex, but pretty good but really good. Like I say, pretty good, really good for $11. Particularly, this wine to me needs food. It's not a quaffing, sit down and just glug, 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 throw a couple ice cubes in it sort of wine. No, it has more going on than that, and it needs food. It's got good acidity, good structure. The tannins are smooth but solid, and they show a little bit of grip on the finish. You put this with a hamburger, you put this with pizza, you do a stew, you maybe even some roasted chicken because it's not like super tannic. This would do really well with those things. And I'm thinking for $11, I'm going to have to go B, a solid B on this wine, just because it delivers so much for the money. I like it. It's a good wine. Let's move on. Now we're going to go to Argentina. Switch glasses. Switch. This is the Vistalba Corte C Malbec Cabernet Sauvignon 2014. And this rolls in at $12. I've had this one around for a long time. I have a couple customers that live on another island that come over and buy me out of this stuff all the time. By the way, shout out to the guy who discovered. We had some Col Solaire 2000. They must have found it somewhere in the warehouse somewhere. 2000, and it was less money than the 2014. I'm not sure why they lowered the price, but I put it out there and somebody came and bought all of it. Good job. So this is a Cabernet Malbec. Instead of a Cal Merlot, we got a Cab Malbec. Makes sense. It's from Mendoza, Argentina. And this one rolls in at $12. Let's see what we get on the nose. This one's a little stinky. A little stink action. Switch glasses again. Yeah, definitely sticky. And when I say stinky, this one's, it's not so much poopy. I don't get the poop action, but it has an, it's like, it's not sulfur. That's not a good thing. So it's not sulfur. It's kind of blowed off. All I can do is kind of blowed off, like that. No, initially, the initial attack in the glass was this. It's not like super stinky. It's a little bit off stink-wise, but now it's blown off. Definitely get licorice and currants for sure. A little bit of like a wilted rose petal action. Like somebody threw some wilted rose petals in there. A little bit of violets. There's an interesting smell. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. This is where I wish it'd be fun to have somebody here. fact, I thought about this. I said, Stan, why don't you just invite a friend or something to come watch you shoot. My son's helped me in the past. It's always been kind of cool. I like that when he helps. And I've had some other guys here, and I like doing interviews. I haven't done one in a while. I'm hoping to be able to, in fact, I'm going to try to interview Keith Pilgrim. He's coming up, Terra Blanca's winemaker and owner, to do a tasting with me. And I hope to have Keith Pilgrim on here because they really have a cool story in building that winery on Red Mountain, one of the early wineries on Red Mountain. Oh, okay, so there's a little bit of cinnamon action. It's almost like a cinnamon powder and cinnamon imperial, like the candied cinnamon imperials. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I just couldn't put my finger on what it was. Now let's see what we get on the palate. Solid wine. Solid wine. A little smoother than the Claire Cellars. The cinnamon definitely comes through. It's like somebody blended some cinnamon in with cherries and currants. Good acidity. The acid is well integrated with the fruit. So, you know, you kind of get that mouth-watering feel on your palate, you know, when there's acid in there. But it's well integrated. This is a very balanced, good structure on this wine. I get a little bit of an earth element coming through, a little bit of dirt action, but it's not a bad thing. It's a solid wine. It's just a little earthy. There's definitely a licorice component, front to back. The initial attack on this hits you with dark fruit, then it kind of blends in, and you get that kind of finish. And then there's a little bit of white and black pepper on the finish on this one also. Wow, this is a solid wine. I'm very impressed with this. I went on the high side. This can go down to $10.99. Yes, I'm looking at the back. Some of these, you know, sales rep, if you buy a certain amount of wine, you get this price. Say, if I can get this down to $10 or $11, solid wine. I'm liking this wine a lot. Wow. You should seek this out. I like the glass changes. Woo. I've been around guys that are really good at switching. Vistalba Corte-C Malbec Cab. Solid wine. 2014. Wow. You know, I don't want to stay on this too long, but to find a wine of that quality for that price is stupid. I'm gonna have to go with solid. Drink it. That rose petal comes through right on the back of the finish, mixed with a little bit of tobacco. This has some complexity going on, some layers to it, which is really hard to do at that price. Good, solid wine. Good food wine. You could drink this, for those of you that like to watch a football game and have a glass of red wine, you could enjoy this easily. It's very well, it has that quality of being drunk solo, as I say. But it would be great with food too. I'm working on going, do I want to grade this one too high? I'm going to go A-. I am going to go a solid A- because I think it delivers a huge amount of wine for the money, and it's well built, good structure. You could lay this down. I wouldn't go too long with it. I'd go maybe 4 to 5 years at the most, but it would develop nicely, perhaps get a little bit richer because it's nice and fresh on the palate, also with that good fruit. I like it. I'm going to go A-. Good job. Great wine. I'd seek that one out for sure. Let's move on. Let's change glasses. Do I want to keep that element going in the show? I don't know. Tall Sage, 2014. Tall Sage red wine, Columbia Valley, Washington. This rolls in at $15. And let's see if it gives the blend. It says here, Arvid Monson developed his first vineyard on the advice of Dr. Walter Clore, known as the father of Washington wine industry. We've talked about Walter Clore before. Find a tall sage and you have a place that will sustain superior grapevines. Interesting. Okay. This release is our tribute to a man of great stature, the founder of Goose Ridge Estate Vineyards. Does not give the blend on this. 13.5 alcohol, so not too bad. I don't have my resource here, team, to look it up really quickly. I did look it up, but I did not see the blend. By the way, you all know that's my pet peeve. Please, I don't even care if you put percentages. Just put the grapes on there. As a consumer, what is it going to hurt? And we like to know. I know I've talked to many of my peeps, and they like to know what's in the wine. And, you know, think about the people who are buying the wine. Come on. Tell us what, at least give us an idea of what's in it. And shame on me for not doing a little deeper research on that one. I thought it was on there. Honest to goodness, I thought it was on there. I apologize. Maybe if I get it posted, I'm going to get this posted on my YouTube channel, and hopefully I can find the blend, and I will put that in the descriptor that pops up when I'm looking at this wine. Okay, I'll do my best. Anyway, let's see what we get on the nose. This has a little sweetness on the nose. Like I get a little bit of a sweet currants. Not super expressive. I get sweet currants, I get a little bit of an herbal component, dried herbs coming through. Definitely a little bit of tobacco. Yeah, that's about it. It's not super expressive on the nose. It's not giving me a lot. There's a couple of things though. Let's see what we get on the palate. Definitely giving that really nice, almost a richness to this wine, which is interesting. I get a lot of currants, there's just a touch of, and this isn't a negative thing, touch of brown sugar, a little bit of white pepper coming through. This has a lot of leather. This is kind of a big wine. I mean, it's pretty layered, it's pretty rich, but at the same time it has those elements like a little bit of earth, a little bit of leather, blended in with those, and the tannins are solid, they're approachable. I mean, it doesn't like pucker up your mouth and dry you out, but they're there, they're solid, they have a little bit of an attitude. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm here, I'm a tannin, I'm here, I'm going to show you up just a little bit, you know, that sort of thing. But you can deal with it. You can deal with it because of the fruit. The fruit helps it. It's well integrated in there. That brown sugar element is there, but it's not like, you don't feel like they dump brown sugar in the wine. It just kind of lies underneath. It's a fairly spicy wine. Now, spice generally comes from oak. Good color on that, by the way. Nice color on that wine. I'm liking this one too. Although right there, the finish seemed a little bit weak to me, just a touch weak, but overall the middle, the front, the middle, and then just gets weak. It doesn't have much going on the finish, which is a little bit disappointing. That just disappears. So Up front it's good, expands on the mid palate, good attitude on the, good structure, good attitude with the tannins. But then it just kind of goes, you know, It's like a movie that doesn't have a very good ending. You know, it's like, yeah, oh, great movie, great movie. Then all of a sudden the ending just goes, you go, what the heck had just happened there? Kind of irritating when a movie doesn't have a good ending. This irritates me just a little bit because the finish is a little bit weak on this wine. So unlike the Stalba that had, you know, front finish, solid wine all to the end, this one kind of peters off at the end. I don't like that part of it, but it's pretty solid wine. So I'm going to go B plus on this wine. I think it has enough going on in front to middle. If it had a stronger finish, definitely would be an A wine. But I'm going to go B plus on that. Fairly solid wine, $15, not too bad. Just get that finish in there, please. There you have it. By the way, Seahawks last Sunday beat the team that I hate the most, the New England Patriots. And it just made me so happy. Solid game by the Seahawks. You know, Patriots played well, just not good enough to beat the Hawks. So now we're on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Be curious to see how that turns out. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.
Hey, Cat. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I just left the studio. Here we are in Harlem. Everybody's here but the police, and they'll be here any minute. It's high time. So catch the song. Here it is.